Hello everybody. Hello everybody.
Hello everybody. Hello everybody.
Hello everybody. Hello everybody. This is me, your favorite podcast app.
App? Then I'm the favorite podcast host and you're the favorite podcast app.
I'm the favorite podcast, your favorite podcast host, Woifi, and this is my
you're the app.
co-host, Danielle.
Co-host? We've been over this so many times.
Oh, sorry, you're the co-host to the host. You're the regional. You're the assistant to the regional manager.
Assistant to the regional manager. The assistant regional manager. Assistant to the.
Sorry, I just.
Oh boy.
So, we're back with a new episode, everybody. First of all.
Oh my.
I'm sorry. First of all, we have a lot of new listeners, and we want to say hi to you.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for listening. We see you, we appreciate you, and thanks for subscribing and maybe sharing the podcast if you like what you hear, and for tagging along in this.
Tagging along for the ride.
Yeah, enjoying the ride.
The wind through your hair.
the freedom that you're bathed in.
Bathing in the glory of our podcast.
Bathing in the glory hole of our podcast. Yeah. So, we see you and we appreciate all of you new people.
We do.
And also, if we also hear, like, we love to hear feedback or just like a little message on Instagram or somewhere.
We like to talk to you.
Yeah, we really like that. So if you just want to say hi or want to say how much you liked or not liked an episode, you feel free to do that. If you didn't like an episode and you tell us that, we will ignore you. But you can still tell us.
We will
that.
block you on all platforms.
Right.
No, we're kidding. We love feedback, good or bad.
Yeah.
Because it helps us.
Yeah. And let's dive into this episode. We have a guest.
We do have a guest.
With an Austrian-American guest. He is an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want to give too much away because that was a very interesting and also partly enlightening talk.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's just dive into it.
Let's do it.
So we are here with our guest. I don't know how to pronounce your name right because
Michaell Magrutsche.
Michaell Magrutsche. That's a cool name. Mm-hmm. That's a very cool name.
It is cool.
Please just quickly tell our audience who you are and what you do, like in a quick way, if that's possible.
I was born in Vienna, Austria. I was a sick child. I went to school when I was 7, hit the wall, couldn't comprehend, and found out I was extremely dyslexic. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't follow anything. I wrote 6 books, almost 7. I can't read them. I have to let the computer read it to me.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
So I use the technology as a tool for me. I'm also I have dysgraphia, meaning my brain-hand coordination is off, but I'm still an artist. So everything that actually, when I hit the wall, that's actually turning me on to break that wall, but to dissolve that wall, not to break it. System says go break it, and I kind of like to understand it deep enough that I can resolve that wall. And that brought me to see extreme. On the other side, I cannot focus on one thing or a repetitive thing or regurgitate things, but I can see context. I can see what everything has to do with each other, how things affect each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and
wow.
So I was in, and art was this creating art, not art, the product. The creating art was my teacher. I have no education, 0 education.
Mm-hmm.
I have 0, degrees and whatever. Whatever. I am completely self-taught, but I on my own, went to America. I co-produced with Robert Evans, who did The Godfather and Love Story and all these movies. I was arts commissioner of Newport Beach City. wrote books and did whatever. Even though those mentionings that I just did were very system relevant, but not fulfilling. I'm actually fulfilled now. Till 50, I hit the wall. Make it stronger. Don't give up. Be powerful. Be disciplined to do all this stuff. And when I got an enlightenment, the first enlightenment was with 30, when I decided that I'm an artist, because art saved me, and I could actually survive creating art, and I could learn what my role is as a human being in the whole. And I defined myself as an artist. I didn't wait till society or some system deems me an artist, or I have a bestseller album or whatever. And when I then, the second breakthrough came with 50, where I realized, where I wrote a book, The Smart of Art. I wrote that to help artists, because I said, here, art helped my life, saved my life, made me who I am, and 97 to 99% of artists worldwide, live in poverty. They are around poverty. You just survive. And I said, that's impossible, because what gives you heaven on earth? When you grow up, right? A song, a movie, you are ready to jump off a bridge. But you hear that song and it makes you alive. It makes you watch that movie. It is literally the only thing that shows us the possibility how life on Earth could be. And without being manipulative or anything, you feel great. You look at a painting and you say, oh my God, what is this doing? I don't know. It's just a human, or it's just a dog, and they said, what is this doing to me? And I said, how can that be like this, that we have such impact? Art has such an impact on humans, but in the same time, systemically, we don't pay them. These people have no system. The creation of art has no systemic value. The product of art, if enough people are viewing it, is like a product. It's like you go to Billa, to a supermarket, and buy something and like that product, and another product you don't. That doesn't mean the other product isn't worthy anything. It's just more attention. So I dove into it, and I found, and this helped me dissolve myself. That's why you write books for yourself, never for the people. So, and I found out that we are more and more, now the more I look into this topic, that we are all became over generation, saw our environment as the system environment. We get born, we are born in a hospital, a system. We are getting baptized, a system, religion. We go to school, it's a system. We go to job, it's a system. We have lost our connection by being always in systems, because we are adaptable. We believe that this is our world, this is our habitat. But really, our habitat is nature. We are a creator animal. We are not a better swimmer than a dolphin. We are not a better, we don't see better than an eagle, but we can create. We are creator animals. And for that creation, we need to be self-aware. Because you can't create something if you're not aware. You need to, there's a learning process in creation, and therefore we have self-awareness. So basically, we're nothing else. We're not the best of everything, because sometimes a dog knows more than we. We're not the best of everything. It's just we are self-aware, and we are a creator animal, and we are here for a short time to experience this, and have other humans experience it too. And it shows you that we are so disconnected because we want to save nature. Even though we are part of nature, how can you, when you are part of something, save that? It's like if you create a doll And then you ask the dog, what should I do? Should I marry this woman? Should I invest in that stock? Should I do? The dog cannot answer that. Also, the dog cannot take over and think, and we're doing what the dog does. It's to save us. A dog doesn't think that, that we created.
Yeah.
So there's insanity in this self-creation that we created as a byproduct, and there's nobody to blame. It's not saying, the horrible government or the horrible this. It's just we lift systems higher, which you see in the war now.
Yeah.
350 million people died. 350,000 people. I'm sorry, 300, not million. 350,000 people died. Soldiers. We don't know of non-soldiers. And so we lift system. We sacrifice ourselves for the system because we don't see our limitlessness. That we created all these systems. We created. If there's any God that created something, we are the gods of systems.
Yeah.
And now we submit to these systems, and these systems are conditioned us more systemically, and then we need to fix systems with what systems created in humans. So, for example, genderism, a woman and man. That's a system-created problem. The zebra doesn't give anything about if there's a female zebra other than procreating. It's a female zebra or a male zebra. They do their job. They think it's not, and it's not saying, okay, you can only do this job or that job. And then when we go into another country, we conquer that because there's a disturbed system, disturbed leader, and we've taken over another country, and we say, okay, these people, because we won the war, they must be less than us, systemically less than us. They look different, they have different eyes, just they must be deaf. So, and racism was born. And so you can't fix a systemic problem that is created, human problems, through another system like Black Lives Matter, Me Too, all this stuff. You can't create that, fix that through a systemic thing because it's too limited. Humans are 7 billion humans. Everybody has a different DNA, fingerprint, and eyes. So why is that? Because we all have something to contribute to the world. So that if therein is number one, but when I say to you, oh, you can be exchanged systemically, I say, okay, you can be exchanged systemically, but there's only one of one in human value. There's one of one of you and everybody. So nobody is a waste. Nobody is can be exchanged in humanity. And we going into how can I fit and be the same? You look at this, our sameness, not our differences, as the value. So if I can adapt to your company perfectly, do everything you are saying, I have a lot of system value. But I might sell out other humans, I might cheat humans, I might all the other stuff. So we created this system. It's this insanity. I hope I give you enough that we can really start a conversation.
Yeah. I mean, you already over exceeded my expectation into an answer what you're doing, and yeah, to that extent, you have on your website, you say you're like a creativity awareness educator, and I wanted to quickly dive into that. What does that mean? What does that incline?
That means we are creative animals, right? And I want to make you aware that creativity is our first superpower. And if we are aware of the creativity, then that is our first superpower, not how much money we make, how much whatever. Because look, I can say to you guys, okay, you guys, you have the worst podcast, or you have the absolutely best podcast that I ever think, which number one is my opinion, but let's say the society says that. you are the best podcast in the world. Tomorrow, somebody else is the best podcast in the world. But what can I not take away from you? That you did a podcast. I cannot take the value really is that you did, that you actually, from a thought, and this is where the awareness educator comes in, creativity. So you had a conversation with your an inspiration, could be a human, could be anything, but that it fits, it has to be your inspiration. Because, 15 people can say, make a podcast, and it doesn't resonate with you, you're not going to make a podcast. But if it resonated with you, your sixth sense, the resonance, that you want to make a podcast, you do a podcast. Now, where is the pleasure in putting it together? And where's the pleasure now in altering it? In constantly being with your non-physical self, not spiritual, non-physical self, which when you sleep, you're saying, oh, and all of a sudden you have this, you wake up in the morning going, I got it. I do this. We move from Linz in another country to Graz, we do this. We go to Vienna, we go to Munich, we change our format. We put ourselves a beautiful background or the background that you have, which I love the background that you have. It just is, but you could think, oh my God, I'm gonna want to be, podcasting in the woods, and you see how it's responding, how your environment is responding to it, and that's the feedback loop. Doesn't mean that's right, but it's the feedback loop for you to alter, to assess, or to stay still and say, no, I know in every cell of my body to keep it like that, and I keep going. This is me. I just know there's a knowing, and in the knowing that I'm going to America. That wasn't like, oh, I want to be famous or anything. I go to America, and I did. And I'm still not famous, and I will probably be never famous, but it doesn't really matter. I'm fulfilled, which is the human success. The fulfillment is your feedback loop, emotional feedback loop, that like love is, it's your emotional feedback loop, that these two resonances concur.
What do you tell people? Because I know some people who say, I'm not creative at all. I don't have that thing. What do you tell people like that? Because, right, that's a good answer.
I say, when you set the table, the dinner table, every time you set the dinner table, even if it looks the same, you're creating the dinner table. Every time you fold your laundry, every time you put your laundry away, everything you do is a creative choice. Everything. And that's why you do, Dani makes it different than Wolfgang. When you set the table, it looks different than Dani, So it's we constantly, we cannot exist not creating. See, the elephant can just knows he's an elephant and knows that and has no value issue or anything. He's just an elephant. The ant does what she does or he does, and everybody does what they do. But the humans can't, because we have that thing of self-awareness, and therefore we systemically say we are not creative, because in systems, what is creativity? You must be an artist, something special. So the 97% obviously of artists, or 99, have to make themselves somehow special and relevant. But if I look at artists as humans, they by birth are already relevant. That's why making something systemically equal can never trump what you already are. You cannot make yourself systemically something that you already are. We are equal by nature. Because why? Nature doesn't make mistakes, and we exist. We exist. Nature is perfect. It doesn't create animals that we don't need. It doesn't create fungi that we don't need. Only the system, when you go 40 years back or 50 years, doesn't have an explanation what that bacteria does. or what that animal is good for, or that an appendix is just a thing we can just cut out, or tonsils or whatever. Because the system doesn't know what it is. Doesn't mean it's not worthy. It's not worthy to be. And that's why when you can compartmentalize, this is, I'm worried to not paying my rent tomorrow or whatever. That is a systemic problem. And you gotta see that. When you have a cut on your hand, that is a humane problem. You need to take care of that. If your child is sick, you need to take care of that child because that's a human problem. And you should never feel even guilty that you don't go to work. But everywhere in the world, especially the Western world, you cannot call the team, your work team in the company, and say, guys, my kid is sick. I have to stay home with the kid. You cannot say that, even though you do, and a lot of mothers have that instinct, to care of that thing. But they do that if they don't get the grandmother or somebody else, but feel guilty and bad because they don't go to work.
Yeah.
Because the word lazy is thrown at you right away, which is a systemic word, because who is lazy in nature? I have had podcasts where there were 4 people and one person didn't say a word. And I always thank that person because he created the space. Because I know when we had these repeated podcasts and the person never said anything, when that person wasn't there, it was a different podcast. But you gotta get the awareness. That's why I say the creativity, awareness trumps everything. Once you're aware you're a woman, once you're aware you're a man, you behave a certain way. So awareness is everything. Once you know that you're worthy, because you're part of nature, and nature doesn't make mistakes. So why would you be alive? Why would that be a waste? How even to think like that, which shows our humanity feels it's worthless. We elevated our systems like countries, Nike, McDonald's, whatever, all these super stuff above us. And then we play that game. And nobody manipulates. Everybody is, I don't want to, I always say I'm for systems. I'm not against them, but I'm for systems to be human adapt, because every system is created so that I have, it's created to help us. When the tribe gets too big, you need to create a system for, let's say, for healthcare, for law, for whatever. You need to create those to help humans. But not that we humans submit to all of that.
Yeah.
And humans and rules, guidelines can only be guidelines. They can never be absolutes because there is 8 billion people. Everybody is different. A rule can never be an absolute. Only in technology. Yes and no. 1 or 2. It cannot be a rule. Not for humans. It can be a rule in technology, in systemic, but it cannot do it over humans.
You mentioned earlier that you until now didn't really feel like you were fulfilled. How did you find your fulfillment? What was there a specific moment in your life that just the light bulb went on and you were like, this is what I need to do with my life? Or was there, I don't know, what's your story? How did you find this fulfillment and this awareness in yourself?
I was always interested in emotions, and I had to discover that. I had to, I said, what is the human success? Because I studied success, and I've, for me, myself, I didn't go to school or anything. And I studied humans. I always go to the human or nature. For all my references, I go to human and nature. And that's why I'm very impactful, and why people resonate with what I say, because they are humans too. So I look at success, and I found that there is no such thing as success, because all the people that are successful have completely different strategies on how to be successful. And there's very few, like a follow-up or something. There's very few rules that you can pull out of success. But people sell it like, oh, I made $1 billion, and I know what I did. And then they go backwards and remember and think, how did I get successful? For example, there's one guy that says, always have a yellow bed. I always make the plan, what I wanted to do in advance. The other thing says, always network. The other thing says, be harsh, be very, if it's not for you, it's not good. Wake up at 4:00 in the morning and do this. Everybody has a different thing. So there is no success formula. If this was a success formula, that everybody would be successful. Like everybody has an iPhone. You know what I mean? An iPhone, the idea of an iPhone is not the idea, it's the tool that it serves. And if that was resonating with people, and the only reason why an iPhone is so successful, a cell phone, is because we are inclusive. We are social, inclusive creator animals. We love to co-create, collaborate with others, like you two, That because we're learning about ourselves, we're becoming self-aware. And when I tell kids, because they are shamed by parents in the system to be always on the phone, and I say to them, you can be all day long on the phone if you are aware why you're on the phone. You are an animal, you look for social connection. That's why. And you intuitively, it's like when women get in their fertile years, that they think I don't know when you get the period first, but like 15, 14 is getting younger and younger till 28. You have a DNA drive, that you want to procreate. Otherwise, our species would be extinct. So it's not like, I always wanted to have a baby. No, it's like, I'm driven, and I wish you had that consciousness. That's why I always tell women, if they teeter-totter, I say, go and wait till 28, then you will make a sounder decision to have a baby or not, and not put yourself in your thing and then try to fit systemically, because it costs $350,000 to raise a child till 18. So if the problem is, we can't do without being systemic. We can't live like that. Even in the woods, we are somehow dependent. You can't really get anywhere a plot of land anymore where you can be autark, which is no problem. But we have to be aware that we, the humans, always have the priority. And coming back to Dani's question, I got clear on fulfillment, because I thought, okay, there's no success. So what is that human then? There must be something, because everything is a reflection of us, right? Also in system. So I say, but it's in system, it's just too primitive. It's very limited. I said, what is the thing for a human? What am I getting when I eat a Sachertorte or eat, see a movie, or what is that? And I searched for this, and I said, it's fulfillment. And I said, and that hangs also together with nature and with abundance. So it's a Erfüllung. It's a fulfillment. And a fulfillment you feel, and I said, when do you feel it? What can I use a metaphor? Because humans work on stories better than on words, because language is a system too, but stories creates an experience, not active but passive. So I say, I looked at, and I found it. It's right after an orgasm, and it's really very metaphorical, because you have a union, and when that human comes to a high point, you have, after the orgasm, not the orgasm, and not a half an hour after the orgasm. Right after the orgasm, there's a fulfillment. To get in touch with that feeling, I want to give you a guidepost to your listeners to what, and then when you chase that, you will get more fulfillment. Not that you sleep with everybody, but that feeling. It's about the feeling. It's not about the the union. But also see in that a union is rewarded. You get an emotional feedback loop, no matter how good or bad the union is, the union gets rewarded, because that's our essence of a herd animal, Rudeltier. That's our, we expand when we are with others. That doesn't mean you can't be alone. You need to be alone to digest. When you're at a party, you need quiet afterwards to digest all these unions that you had.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I always need a day or two after
Exactly.
a lot of social.
Yeah, because it takes you longer to digest. Exactly.
Yeah. So you said previously that you're self-taught, that you don't have like a degree or something. Talk about that a little bit. Like, how did you choose the path that you're on, and how did you start creating things? And you also talk about the success part of it. Obviously, art is very subjective. It's very like, some people say, "Oh, I can totally see what the artist wanted to do with that," and some people say, "Oh, I don't even care about that piece." So how do you maybe deal with that part of art and artistry? Because I myself would call myself in the systemic way an artist, or like a creator, and I sometimes struggle with that feeling of, oh, am I good enough? Is this something that people want to see?
Because you look at it systemically. You look at it systemically. You don't look, this is how much it damages you. Peter, realize that right now you just spoke the words.
Yeah.
This is how much we are conditioned to systemically judge ourselves, because even though I know artists that are totally accepted by the world as artists, they are at the Biennale, they're going all over, they're invited everywhere, and they have a hard time calling themselves artists. Because it's not something that is bestowed on you. It's something you are. Number one, we are creator animal. So there's already, you can choose. The highest form of creator animal is art. Why? Because it is in no way or form neutered to be a product. It's just, I'm standing in front of a white canvas. I'm listening to silence. I hear a rhythm. I take a paint to the canvas. It's a pure conversation from your non-physical to the physical. And everybody can be an artist if you choose to create not an iPhone, but a piece of whatever. I mean, you could say a poem, you spit on the wall, whatever you think. Art is something that the only difference between creation and art is that art has no purpose. You're not trying to systemically influence your expression. And in that, you can find your essence. That's why all my wisdom and everything I found in that. You first of all get self-esteem. When you create a podcast, even though it's the worst podcast, the best, it does irrelevant. You create self-confidence. You guys created a podcast. Congratulations. Awesome. You did your own human job. You created something that wasn't before. And so it's up to you to call you an artist. Nobody questions that I'm an artist, and I'm not a famous artist. Nobody questions it because I say I'm an artist.
Yeah.
An artist isn't if I sell my products or if my products are famous. What I do, everything I do is like an artist. And when you pull yourself out of, especially out of systems, and try to do it humanly, you're 100% an artist. You know, when I say, hey, let me share with you who I am. That's what art is. It's not, let me create something that the system says it's okay, and then the system is rewarding you by calling you an artist and gives you a prize. Because I know people that got Oscars, Grammys, and everything. And they feel as weak as and uncreative as they can.
That's
See, when you look at it from a human's perspective, do you see this, Wolfgang? when you see that from a human perspective, you have all the answers that you always looked for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sure. The thing is, totally true. And if in the clear moments, if I would call it that, I'm totally aware of that stuff. But then you get sucked into those systems, and you get all that, those voices from other people, or from even in yourself, that doubt that
or even comparing yourself with other artists who do similar things.
Oh, he's better. They do a better job with stuff like that. So yeah.
But there is in humanity. There is no better. There is no better in humanity or worse. There is just is. The elephant doesn't think he's better than another elephant. He does his thing. In the wolf, the wolves have a hierarchy, a very strong hierarchy. Even there, the leader is not like the leader in the Western world in the sea level. The leader is more like in a symphony orchestra. The leader is also constantly challenged. As a wolf, you are constantly challenged as a leader. That's not a fun job.
Yeah.
And not to mention, every wolf in the pack has their own role that plays a massive role within the pack.
Yeah. I always say, look at the symphony orchestra. If the world would work like a symphony orchestra, and that's why I am such an art creator fan, because art creation shows us the possibility, the blueprint of how humanity could function. And the difference between a symphony orchestra, when you have the best conductor, we have the best first violinist, you have the best venue, you have the best audience, but if the oboist is wrong, the whole thing is gone. If the curtain doesn't open, the whole thing doesn't happen. If the light is not strong and they can't read the notes, it's off. Everything has to function in the moment when it's performed. And that's why artists feel so great. And that's why all the artists have not given up their jobs, because when they create, they feel one. They feel the oneness. They feel the connection. They feel it's no thing. When you create something, when you focus on something, you're in the moment right now. You're not thinking, oh, I have to pay the bills. Oh my God, when is my boss coming? Run off the time. You don't even think that. You have no time, space. You're out of time, space. You're in space, time, space. And that's what makes artists feel so good. And that's why they say, I'd rather eat the kid out of the fenster. I eat the dirt than being integrated, lose myself completely in the systems. And you see that this consciousness comes not just to me, and I didn't invent this, I just unveil. This is here, this is coming through right now. After COVID, nobody wanted to go to work back because they've got a piece of, it totally backfired. They got a sense of, what is if I have no time limitations, if I don't have to be there at a certain time, do this job at a certain time, and all of a sudden, oh my God, we lived a non-linear life during COVID, and so, oh my God, this is how we should live. I work with a think tank of neurodiversity, and the guy said, it's very much, his moniker is non-linear thinking. And I said, it is sad that we have to fight for non-linear thinking when that is the human thinking. Linear think is the systemic thinking that we are conditioned over generation to adapt to. But it's not our natural thinking. And in nature, there is no ADHD. That's when you force yourself to linear. You get and you become dyslexic, and you be more. Because there weren't ADHD people before. They're just like raising like crazy. Autism raises like crazy because you can't force 8 billion people in a couple of systems or many systems. It doesn't matter. You can't systemize a human. And that's why you can't. Why do you think AI? Everybody's saying, oh my God, I hope this AI is the greatest thing ever and whatever. That's scary, but I hope it's the great. Why? To do the dirty work that systems have us do? That's why everybody wants to be a leader. A leader is so you have people under you that do that that are inhumane. The jobs filling out forms. That is human born to fill out forms? I don't think so. I think we have way more to offer humanity and the world and nature than filling out forms or try to fit into to get something executed that we don't even believe in.
Yeah, that's true. That is totally true.
And it's so simple. I'm not an expert. I'm an expert in nothing. I have zero education. And I'm proud of it because I can see things and can share them with you. If you like them or don't, that's up to you. I don't have a thing on the outcome either. I like our conversation, not if we have 1 million views or whatever.
Yeah. I agree.
This is the value. This is the value.
You have so many different like mediums that you work with. I mean, you've written books, you paint, you have music. Do you have a favorite form of expressing yourself in art, or is it just dependent on where you are in life?
Yeah, great question, Dani. Number one, what is interesting? What is interest for me to do? I have learned a spectrum of art when I was painting. By the way, I was an artist my whole life, so I sold tapes out of my trunk. I was a DJ. I created fashion shows. I was a commercial announcer. I was in marketing. So because of my dyslexia, I did a lot of things. And I learned from everything. I learned something about me from creating. If I would have just executed, which I couldn't do anyway, so it was a blessing, my dyslexia. But if I would have just executed one job and go the ladder, which is the worst thing ever, the corporate ladder, for me, I could never do that. Because basically how you sell yourself out to get to the next, or betray other people to get to the next level is absolutely it's absolutely foreign to me. But I got a lot of things, and then because I did those many things, I found parallels in that. I found a context. So I learned. I was crazy about Jimi Hendrix and all. I mean that ages me, but Jimi Hendrix and all these Led Zeppelin and stuff, and I wanted to be a guitarist. I wanted to be an electric guitarist. Electric guitar was it. I wanted it because at that time I thought the image fit me, and I learned 2 years classical guitar because then in Austria you had to learn a classical instrument, which is systemic insanity. Yeah, I mean, what has that to do with anything? And we never question it because we are adaptable. We are humans that adapt. I said, why tell me? Like, I ask every system, what is normal? There can't be any normal because there's 8 billion different people. So I said, okay, and I 2 years, and then I said, no, okay, I think I'm not good because I wasn't aware then, but my dyslexia, my dysgraphia, my hand-brain coordination didn't work. And then I thought that's it. That's it. No more instruments for me. I love art, but no more instruments for me. And then I think sometimes somebody asked us, hey, Michael, our percussionist is sick. Can you bring up a little color in our thing and do the bongos and congas and shakers and everything? I said, yeah, that seems easy, and it was easy. It was very easy for me, and then I was virtuosic in this. I did a CD on it. I did, and that shows you just when you make a systemic choice, or when something happens in life to you, that what's happened might be better. That might be better even in the system. That's why I say always priority get your human shit in order versus your systemic stuff, because once you know who you are, nobody can take that away. No, it's true. Like nobody can take away that you did the podcast, you guys. I can say it's the worst, it's the best, it's the most boring podcast. I can say everything to it. And tomorrow is going to be somebody else systemically or not, you know?
Yeah.
But nobody can take that away that you created it. That is the
Yeah.
real value. Our conversation is the value, not how you make a product out of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's exciting to make the product out of it sometimes, you know, but how this is the value that can be used, that people like or not.
If people want to connect with you, if people want to find you or look at your or listen to your art, where can they do that?
MichaellM.com, Michael with 2M. Michael with 2, see my dyslexia, Michael with 2 L's. Michael with 2 L's, M.com, MichaellM.com. And that's
We'll
everything
put that in
that you
the
can find me
description.
in.
Okay, that's good. First of all, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Second, I could talk to you for hours because
We can do this again, Wolfgang. Don't worry. We
Yeah,
can do this again. Get all your
I would
questions.
love to.
After
would
this,
love to.
after you percolate that percolates and you let that come to the surface, this
Yeah.
experience, write down all the questions and then we'll make a follow-up.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be really great. Thanks again for being here and have a great day.
Yeah.
You
Thank
too.
you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was Michael.
It was Michael.
As I said in the intro, he's very much an artist, and I think you got that from how he talks and how he conveys things and how he expresses himself. And I really like first of all, the idea that everybody is an artist and that everybody creates and that we are creative animals, creator animals. That's what he said. Because it's true. And if you think about it, everybody does create something every day. And it's kind of cool to think of that. Like if you think of just like a carpenter, for example, or like a woodworker or stuff like that. I mean, they do something with their hands. They create art, for example. Yeah. So I kind of like the idea of that.
I also like the whole perspective of, you know, there's the human side of things and there's the systematic side of things.
Yeah.
And if you look at things from a more human perspective, life kind of comes more into focus, I feel like, the important things come into focus, like what's really important in life and what's not important in life, or at least what shouldn't take the reins as much.
The simple awareness of the things we created, like the things that are created by human beings and are systemic, can help to focus on the more important things. And a lot of people say, you know, money, wealth, fame, whatever, that's not important. And what's important is family, for example, love, stuff like that, the human part of it. And that's the same thing, because money, fame, all of that is systemic. It's like a thing that was created to make us maybe either pursue something or glorify something, and which in itself can be fine. I'm not judging here, but I think the idea of just being aware of what am I doing? Is it something that I'm pursuing because it's human nature? It's something that I need to do, or is it something that I am grown into, brainwashed, whatever you want to use, by a system? And yeah, we talked about religion a lot on the podcast before, and that is also a systemic thing that not to judge or anything, but I think something should be questioned, at least to a degree, and to you know, get the overview a little bit. I mean,
didn't we do an episode on deconstructing, or were we part of a podcast talking about that? We were part of a podcast guests. That wasn't on our podcast.
We're guests
with Steven.
Steven, yeah. Yeah. But But yeah, that was it. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing, like on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to a podcast.
Like the podcast, share the podcast.
Yes.
And reach out to us with your feedback and thoughts.
And head over to our Patreon if you want to support us in a little financial matter.
And be part of our little Patreon family with Joe. Hey, Joe.
Every
time I say hey, Joe, I want to start singing Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe, don't make it mad.
That's not the one I was thinking of. Okay. Hey, Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? Yeah. Anyways,
okay, that's it.
That was more Led Zeppelin. Anyways, watch out for deer.